Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk Tri-State with Tiny and Katy.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Tri-State, powered by HomeRite Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State Awards. And speaking of HomeRite Windows and Doors,
Nick, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back. Now, last time you were here, which was 2 weeks ago already, we talked a lot about HomeRite Windows and Doors, the business, your background, how you got started. Mm-hmm. What I thought we could do today is just kind of take a deeper dive into the process of installation and how you support that process and questions that maybe some homeowners might have.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you know if you need new windows other than I think that they're old and it's time to replace them?
Well, I would say that people typically call us for a couple of reasons. The first is if they have drafty windows, they got air coming through, and this time of year is when those calls start coming in. You get a little bit of chilly air in the night or in the morning, and then you realize that that's something you want to address. So it's our busiest time for sales actually right now, all year long. Right, heading into Thanksgiving is our busiest time. So that's the big one. You know, they feel the draft coming through, or they've always wanted to be able to tilt their windows in to clean them, and they haven't been able to. You know, most of the new construction windows out there are not going to tilt. Maybe the bottom sash tilts in, but a lot of the wood windows out there don't tilt in at all. So that's another big reason. And of course, somebody could have broken glass, or they could have what's called a seal failure, which is like a fogginess. Have you ever seen a window that looks foggy or it's got moisture in it?
yes.
That's a seal failure.
It's not supposed to look like that.
It's not supposed to look like that.
Can you buy windows though that have that kind of fogginess
A
to
frosted window, sure, you could, yeah.
Actually, Provia does offer a variety of frosted glasses, and one of them is rainfall. So yes, to answer your question, you can get that look, but I don't think that's what these folks are dealing with.
Right, yeah.
So over the last 30 years or so, from Martinsburg to Hagerstown and a lot here in Greencastle, there's been a lot of new construction. You know, they put up row homes or townhomes or whatever, where they put up vinyl siding and they put in vinyl new construction windows. Well, a ton of those windows have this situation called seal failure. The homeowner typically doesn't know what it is. They think it's just dirty glass and they keep washing it and it doesn't go away. Till they finally call us and go, what is wrong with this window? Do I need a new window? Can you fix the glass? One of the things that's unique about us is that we will fix that glass in most circumstances. If it's the right kind of window, we can take the double pane glass out and put a new double pane glass back in. And that prevents the homeowner from having to get a whole new window. So I would go back to our last conversation when I say we're the local company and we're kind of fending off all the competitors coming in from outside the market. None of them would even consider doing that. It wouldn't be worth it to them to come here to fix a piece of glass. Whereas we have the ability and the skill and the know-how to do that. So if we get a call from Greencastle or wherever and they have this fogginess in their glass, I'm gonna come out and look at it. I'm going to let them know, hey, we can or we can't change out the glass. And if we can't, then I would give them a proposal to put in a whole new window.
Now the double pane glass, that is simply there's a vacuum in there and it is filled with a particular gas, as I understand it?
In most cases, it's filled with argon.
Okay.
It could be krypton, but it's mostly argon. Gotcha. Not kryptonite.
Right, yeah.
Krypton.
Are windows like roofs, like every 20 to 25 years you need to get them replaced?
Well, yeah, you could probably look at it that way. But again, with our products, they come with a lifetime warranty. So regardless of how long you own that home, you're under the Provia warranty that we execute.
If you have a fault, I'm trying to think, because I don't really know much about window replacement. Are they like tires? Like if you do one, you should probably do all of them, or can you just do one window in particular?
That's another thing that's unique about HomeRite, is that because we're the local provider, we don't travel more than 30 or 45 minutes for most of our work. We're happy to come out and take care of one window if you need one window done. And a lot of companies will say right up front, whether it's in their marketing or when you call them, you know, they won't do less than 3 or they won't do less than 5.
because it's like not worth their.
It's not worth it.
Understood.
It's not worth going through the sales process, sending a crew out, losing a day's work over one or two items, where we're happy to do that, because we know by making that customer happy with that one or two windows, they're going to tell their friends and neighbors, and eventually they're going to want the rest of their windows done, or they might want doors done next year.
And they're coming right
and
to
so
you.
and it's the same thing with the glass. Like, why would we do it for one piece of glass where other companies won't? Well, we're building that relationship with the marketplace, and we know if we go help that customer solve their problem, which is what we're doing. We're in the business of solving customers' problems with just that piece of glass or that one or two windows, that we will be their contractor down the road when it comes to more windows or more doors.
I think that's super important. I know as a homeowner, when something is going wrong, I never know. I want to make sure that whoever I'm calling, I can trust. And if I've never used a company before, I want to know that the reputation is there and that I can trust them. So it sounds like that's what you guys have, is you have a lot of trusted clientele and you do good work. So you are top of mind if something like that happens to your windows or doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I run into a lot of situations where they say the last guy that was here said that all you can do is replace all the windows in the house, because to your question earlier, well, it's not going to, well, that might be true, but chances are the folks making that call have a specific issue with a window or two that they want addressed. They weren't in the market to spend a lot of money to get their whole house done.
Absolutely.
They just needed a problem solved.
Is there a science behind, because you mentioned this earlier, that this time of year is when your business really ramps up, because people will walk by a window, they feel a draft, they're sitting near the window, and it goes over my shoulders. But just the same as cold air can get in, hot air can get in as well. So if you translate it to summertime, the warmer months, you have the air conditioning rocking and rolling in the house, and if there's that draft, if it's present in the winter, it can be present in the summer. But why is it that we don't feel, is there a science behind why we don't necessarily feel the heat coming in?
I think it's just the ebbs and flows of the market. So obviously over winter, people aren't doing a whole lot of this type of work, but then the spring comes and we get busy then, because people are ready, they get their tax returns, or they're ready to do their home improvement projects because spring breaks. And then it slows down a little bit in July. People are on vacation and doing all those kinds of things. And then kids go back to school and fall comes. And I just think when that crisp air hits, it reminds them that, hey, there's something we wanted to get taken care of before the snow comes, right?
And we're not busy. We're not, in the summertime, we're out, we're active, we're doing things. We're not necessarily in the house. When we're in the house, we're more like, okay, now would be the perfect time to get this done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a question. Now, this is a silly question. I asked Tiny this and he couldn't really answer it for me. In my house, I have 2 window units for air conditioning, and they're very, very heavy. And so I was thinking about not bringing them in for the winter time because they are so heavy. Is that something that I can just keep out there year round, my AC units in the window?
You can, but you're probably making that opening very inefficient. You probably have a ton of cold air coming in there around that AC unit, or through it, I suppose. So yeah, you'd probably do better on your heating and cooling bills, or your heating bill specifically during the winter, if you had those taken out.
It's funny, I believe that's the answer that I gave Katie.
Well, then I said...
She didn't trust you, huh?
It's amazing. She'll trust me to go down and work on her electrical in her home that she owns in Winchester, but answering a question about why she should bring in a window unit.
Well, then I said...
Too much.
Is
Too
there
much.
a way that I can just put some kind of cover over top of the AC unit so that way it can stay out there, but I've suctioned the sides, or does that product exist?
They do make a cover.
They do make a
cover
cover,
that you can put on the inside.
I doubt it's making a whole lot of difference in the cold air coming through.
Yeah, Tiny was really excited about trying that product out and going on the roof and seeing if we could make that happen.
As a matter of fact, I was excited for any option that would not include me going over and actually removing the unit.
They're
Right,
so
right.
heavy. They're really heavy.
Well, the issue is with Katie is, well, first of all, she's helpless. There's that. But B, I would have to go over, and it doesn't just end with taking it out of the window. I then have to carry it up her attic stairs, which are as narrow as a twig, and I'm not, so therefore taking this up, it's this whole thing. And
Well, then the dirty water in the machine is going to get on the carpet, and then you're going to have to clean that.
Yes,
Yeah, it never
absolutely.
ends. It's quite a problem. I'll just call HomeRite Windows and Doors and see if you guys can transport my ACs up into my attic for me. That'd
All
be
right,
great.
that sounds like a good idea.
Never estimated for that, have you?
Right. Actually, yes.
Okay, I'm not, yeah, I agree, probably.
Anytime I can get work done, I'm all for it. Now, Is there a fee for an estimate? You may have covered this before last time we spoke. So I have a problem and I say, hey, Nick, can you come out and look at my windows? Do you have a fee for an estimate?
We don't. We've always taken the stance that, again, we're going to build that relationship with the marketplace. We're not going to charge you to come out and look at the situation. We're going to give you our professional opinion of what you need and find out what you want, show you options, give you a proposal, but we're not going to charge you to do that.
I love that. Do you know how many places it's $100 just to come out and look?
Right.
Even if there's nothing they have to do, $100 just for me to come out and just step into your home. It's
Right.
crazy.
Right. And as a business owner, I understand it. I mean, your time is valuable. So if you're simply running appointments all day and you're not getting anything out of it, that can be a problem. But we find that with what we're doing, again, typically, I think we mentioned this last time, when somebody calls us, they need something they need something taken care of.
Yeah. They're not just calling you thinking nothing's wrong.
Right.
There's probably a bigger issue.
Right.
Are you seeing a lot of, because I'm seeing a lot of them, when people come to you for new windows, whether it's old construction or new construction, how many of the black windows are you installing, the black framed windows?
That has become more and more popular. You know, it was on one of the TV shows or multiple TV shows, and then it got very popular. So yes, we are installing more black windows than we ever have before.
I think they look great. They really do.
They look nice.
It's not something that you would originally, before I saw them, you would have just told me, no, I don't know how I feel about that. But now that I see them more and more, it's like, that's really slick. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So we sell a lot of black doors. We sell some black windows, but we offer about, I think it's 10 or 12 different colors of paint on our vinyl windows.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's really a nice contrast. I like it a lot.
You were saying that this time of year is really popular for people to replace their windows. How does the weather affect window installation?
So we work right throughout the winter. You know, it doesn't stop us. If it's down at 10, 15 degrees, maybe we won't work that day. But anytime it's in the high 20s or in the 30s, we're more than capable of going out and getting some work done. You know, if it's a bay or bow window, which is going to create a big opening in the house, maybe we're not going to do that project when on a really cold day. But we do work right throughout the year. Like November and December is pretty nice working weather usually. It's January and February that gets tough.
For everything, really, yeah.
Right.
Now, when it comes to, there may be someone listening or watching that says, I'm saving up. I know I need to get new windows. I'm going to call HomeRite. I'm going to have them come out. But I can't do it this winter, maybe when the weather breaks. But they have some drafts. What can they do? What could you say to those folks that, you know, until they make the call to you, what can they do to save on their heating bill, their electricity? How can they help themselves at their windows?
Well, the only thing I could suggest is things that I see people do when I go to visit them. You know, they're already
towels in there.
they're already stuffing towels in there to block the air from coming through, or they're buying the plastic film from one of the big box stores and putting that over the window to stop the draft. So I think that probably helps in stopping the draft, but I don't think it's helping as far as blocking heat and cold transfer from happening like a double pane insulated glass pack would.
And then when it comes to that, about financing, someone may say, well, I don't have the money to do it now, and I'm going to wait, like the example I just gave. But you do offer some financing, yes?
Yeah, we have getpowerpay.com, and you can go through them and get financing and stretch the payments out however long you'd like.
Oh.
I think the minimum payment when you use that process is about 1% of your total.
What is the price? I know this is a really vague question, but what is the price for a window? I know it depends on, you know, the quality and the higher end, the lower end, but what is like the average price of a window?
Yeah, so in the marketplace, you see some companies out there anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000
For one window?
for one window, as Tiny found out, and we talked about last time.
Right.
You'll see a lot of companies in the $1,500 to $2,000 range. We usually come in the $800 to $1,000 range, depending on the options you're looking for.
Wow, that's quite a difference.
Yeah.
It's some work.
Yeah.
Cut the old one out, you know, change the framing if need be, and so there's some things that a lot of people don't think take into this is taking that one out and putting that one in. Well, there's a bit more involved.
How long does it take to replace a window?
We could usually do 10 to 15 in a day.
Wow.
10 to 15 in a day is a solid job. And it depends on the construction of what's there. Not every window installation is the same. You could have a 10-windowed project that takes you 2 or 3 days just based on the fact that it's a very difficult situation. That's not typical. Typical jobs, 10 to 15 windows a day.
Does it make it more difficult the older the house is? If it's a house that's from the early 1900s, I mean, does that make a difference?
Not necessarily. A lot of times in that situation, you have a wood window where you're going to leave the wooden frame in that opening. So you don't have to take the entire window out. The sashes are the things that move up and down. You're taking those out and you're putting your new vinyl replacement window inside the wood frame and you're screwing it through the jambs. That's how you're fastening that. And then what our team is very good at is the aluminum work that then gets done outside. So they're custom bending aluminum and they're capping the wood that remains, whether it's a brick mold or some 1x4 or whatever it is that was on that old structure. We're going to make that maintenance free. So part of the installation and part of what we do making you maintenance free is the aluminum work that goes on the wood outside the window, so you don't have to paint anymore.
That's
How do you handle the trim work?
Inside or outside?
Either one.
So outside, that's what I'm talking about. We're
Okay.
covering that trim work with aluminum. Inside, on a standard replacement window installation, you're not taking off the trim work.
Okay.
The only time you're taking off the trim work is if you do what's called a full frame replacement, and you do take that whole old wooden frame out, which is not typically what we're doing.
Right. And a lot of those older homes, they were built so well that those frames they're not going anywhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Do you do anything to protect the home as well during the installation, depending on where the windows are?
It's typically not necessary. You don't get a whole lot of debris coming in the house on a window installation. But this is one of the areas we learned where we excel. This is where, Crystal's job is to assist, Mike and Jerry, who are the technicians. She's helping them any way she can. And as they move from one window to the next, she's cleaning the window and vacuuming the floor. So at no point is there a mess left behind. I've seen a lot of companies where they have a team installing windows and then at the end of the day, they're cleaning up the entire mess. Well, that's a disaster. We're cleaning every opening as we go, so at no point you have a big mess on your hands.
And that's amazing. I remember when I replaced my roof, it was the same thing. The roofing company did there was not a piece of roof in my garden, in my neighbor's yard. I mean, they did a beautiful job cleaning all of that up. And I really appreciated that because I kind of expected to come home to something that I was going to have to clean up. So that's amazing that you guys take that so seriously.
And it's another point that brings me back to why we feel almost protective of the marketplace, because we handle our business that way. I'm the one that comes out to measure. I own the business, and so I know and my installers know we have to do those things to take care of our customers. Whereas when you deal with a big company from outside the marketplace, the salesman, he or she is just doing their job trying to create a paycheck, but they don't get paid if they don't close you on the spot. And they don't know the install crew that's coming to your house more than likely.
They're not thinking of those little things when they're giving you the estimates with their clipboard.
They're just trying to feed their family. They're not thinking about those little things. We're thinking, every member of our team, whether it's myself or you call the office and talk to Roxanne or it's Jerry, Mike, and Crystal that are coming to your home, we are all thinking of those little things to make sure we hit a home run every time. And it's why we have nothing but 5-star reviews on Google.
I was going to say, I mean, I've seen your reviews online.
Yeah.
They're glowing, absolute glowing reviews. So job well done.
Yeah.
How far are you booking out now?
About 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but I always tell customers this time of year, it's still 4 to 6 weeks. We're still achieving that 4 to 6 weeks, but beware, there's possible snowstorms in the horizon. You have holidays coming up, so scheduling gets a little funny this time of year because you're still telling everybody 4 to 6 weeks, but that 4 to 6 weeks puts you into some different times that could be challenging.
Now, are you able to provide windows if people just want windows? They say, you know what, I think I can do the work myself. I'm pretty handy. Can they come to you just to purchase the windows?
We've gotten away from that. We find it works best for our business that we install everything we sell.
And that way you can still warranty the work.
Correct. And as a dealer of Provia, it just makes most sense for us to when we sell it, we install it. And as far as the warranty goes and the craftsmanship, we know everything's done right.
Now, I know we could talk windows for a little bit longer, but I want to make sure we touch upon the foundation that this shirt that you're wearing, we did this, we
Yeah.
talked about it last time, but I feel so strongly about it, and I know you do too, that it merits bringing up again.
Yep.
So if you're listening to 92 on the Goat, please stream us online on YouTube, but you're wearing a shirt that says clap, fist, pump, woo. And so
it's easier to do than it is to say.
you know, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, those aren't words I normally use in
Right,
my
woo.
vernacular, like clap, fist pump, woo.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the Invincible Foundation. Is that correct?
Yep. So I'd like to share where you would find it. First of all, you would go to beinvincible.org, or you would go to Instagram and look up the Invincible Foundation. This group is helping kids and their families that are struggling with, whether it's leukemia, cancer, whatever it is. Their purpose is to support those families with love, with resources, whatever they might need to help them through what's probably the most difficult time in their lives. And so that's the whole mission of the Invincible Foundation. And what I'm doing here with them is, and I'm still just dipping my toes in this whole situation and trying to get involved and trying to spread the word about what they are here in the Tri-State, because they're out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Here in the Tri-State, what I would want somebody to know if they're listening to this show is, if you know somebody that's sick, go to beinvincible.org. This organization wants to find people that need help.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So while there will come a time where I try to do some things maybe to help them raise funds, create more resources to do the work they do, right now I think the simple thing that I would ask everybody to do is be aware of beinvincible.org, so that if you know somebody or you hear of somebody in your school district or wherever it might be that has a child struggling or a family struggling, there are resources.
Is there an age limit?
That's a great question. I don't think there is. I know they primarily are helping kids with cancer as opposed to adults, but I don't know the answer to that question.
How did you stumble upon this organization?
So my brother lives in the area where Vince, the young man that this foundation is named after, my brother lives in his neighborhood and came across them and was moved to get involved. And now he's heavily involved. He's on the board of directors there. And it's part of his life now. It's part of what he does, and he's constantly trying to spread the word and help them move the thing forward.
Tell the story of Vince, because this was one of the most incredible journeys that I think and arduous journeys that I've ever heard of.
Yeah, Vince was a young man who was very active. He's an athlete. He's a wrestler. And he was out wrestling, winning tournaments and doing his thing, and then all of a sudden got some bloody noses and had some things go down that weren't going so well, and went and got tested, and turned out he had leukemia. And basically Vince and his family basically had to shut everything down at that point and focus their lives on his treatment. And that lasted 860 days. Wow. Yeah, 2.5 years of treatment till he was able to ring the bell and be cleared of the leukemia.
And where is Vince now?
Vince is back on the wrestling mats.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for coming in again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Again, plug your website, social media. Where can people find you?
So we are HomeRiteWaynesboro.com. We're on Facebook. Our Google page has a ton of information and a ton of pictures. If you want to see pictures of our work, I would Google HomeRite Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, or go to our Facebook page, HomeRite Windows and Doors Waynesboro. And again, if you know somebody that might need help, beinvincible.org is where you would want to go there.
And by the way, just so everyone knows, it's HomeRite, RITE is the spelling of right, so you get to the right place.
Correct.
There you go.
The right choice.
That's the right choice.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.